Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So if you liked this, make sure you like it, share it, comment any questions you may have to be in my future Q&A. So I hope you like this and enjoy this, and make sure you check out my other podcast, or my podcast in general. Sorry, I'm tired today. Jayla and Baby Better Than Yesterday. And here we go. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Better Than Yesterday podcast. Today is episode 32. Sorry, a little tired today. Today is episode 32 with Jayla and Baby. And today I'm going to be answering some frequently asked questions from you guys and just going into depth on my perspective and giving you reasons why. And hopefully, this resonates with you or causes some sort of mindset shift, or maybe gives you some sort of clarity just based off my experience, my perception. And yeah, and hopefully this just makes you feel closer to me as well. So, first question that I've been asked is, why is it so hard to move on? Now, it's crazy because it really is so hard to move on, especially if there isn't a good reason to move on. But I think why it's so hard to move on is we often are always focused on the memories when we're at such a low point. Obviously, there's 5 stages of grief, right? There's denial, anger, that we just kind of go through the motions. But it's so hard to move on because we almost replay the scenarios and the conversations in our head over and over again and think about how things could have been different. Or if you did something different, it would have been different. Or if you didn't say something, or if you did say something, or this and that. And it's kind of like this back and forth conversation. How you could have wished it would have been different, or you wished you would have left earlier or later, or you should have just not said anything. But the reality of it is if that certain thing didn't happen to cause you and this person to part ways, something else would have happened because this was part of your story. They're not meant to be in your life anymore, or they're at least not meant to be in your life right now anymore. And they could be back in the future when you both grow and change and go through more experiences with other people. And that is just something to keep in mind. So it being hard to move on is just a mindset in itself. You should use it to make you stronger. Now, the next question I had received is, where do you live and what are your next steps now that you're graduated? I love that question. So I live in Arizona, and I graduated from Arizona State University maybe less than a month ago. And my next steps now that I'm graduated is I'm still working at IHOP, and I've been applying to news stations and radio stations to get a job there to learn more experience on what I love to do, which is my podcast. I think I've developed amazing communication skills through my major and through working at IHOP for the past 5 years that I think it's such a great outlet for me, as well as just focusing on myself and my goals. I also have something else coming soon that I do not want to talk about till I get the ball rolling, but it is amazing, so amazing. And then on top of that, I am in the middle of editing and publishing my book that I have finished. So that should be out by the end of this year. So I'm very excited for that. So yes, so excited. Such a great year. The next question I was asked is, by which age do you wish to be married? Now, it's crazy because when I was younger, I used to always think, oh my gosh, like right out of college, that's what I want to get married. I want to get a boyfriend in college and I want to get married. But it doesn't always end up that way, right? But I would say in the next 2 years, I would want to be married. But when it comes to like having kids, like I don't think I would want to have kids soon, like super soon, because I feel like there's a lot of things I still want to do. Not necessarily saying that my kids would hold me back, but I feel like when you have kids, you need to kind of shift your focus on them and do what's best for them rather than you. And I just don't think that I'm mentally there to be there for a kid in that way. And I think that's so much to do and so much self growth. I want to have a steady, sustainable income and mental clarity and maturity to and knowledge to pass on to my kids when I have them. So, yes. The next question I was asked is how important is it to find the meaningful relationship while focusing on your career? This is a beautiful question because I think a lot of people are focused on the wrong things. I think a lot of people are maybe not where they want to be in life, or maybe they are, but they're just constantly in search of this certain person, their soulmate, if you will, because they believe that once they find the soulmate, they will be happy, and that is all. But that's so far from the truth. It's very true that the minute that you stop looking, it's like they automatically fall right into place with your life. So I would say it's very important to focus on yourself and your career as much as you may not want to hear that. You want to focus on your life and your career first because that person that you want to, that maybe that dream person that you're wanting in your life will fall into your life perfectly when you're constantly working on yourself as well. This was hard for me to wrap my head around. I remember thinking how I want a guy who's like so kind and like fit and hardworking and whatever, whatever. And I remember thinking as I've been going through my self growth journey, you need to do that for yourself too, right? You need to embody those characteristics, be fit, hardworking, this and that, because it's more than likely that that person that you're seeking out is seeking the same thing. So when you embody the characteristics that you want in a person, it will attract that person as well. So that's why it's so important, I think, to focus on your career and focus on yourself as much as you can in trying to be better every day, better than yesterday, if you will. And you will find and attract an amazing person that you've been destined to meet and have into your life. Don't focus too much on it because it will come. The next question I was asked is, do you care if your partner makes less than you? I think this question is such an amazing kind of divine timing to be asked because if you had asked me this question maybe 2 months ago, I would have said, yes, I do care. But things have happened since, and I don't think I would care, but I wouldn't care if they are doing something they love and that they're happy and they're hardworking and they're driven. I don't think money is everything. I really don't. And I used to. I wouldn't say that I used to fully think money was everything, but I think it was a big part of my future. Like I really just wanted this lavish lifestyle. And of course, everybody would and still maybe does. But for me, I think there's a greater purpose to life than just money. I think when you focus on the good goal itself and you become mastered and skilled at a certain thing, you will become so good that the money will flow to you naturally. So I think that your mindset towards what you're trying to do is what is most important. So overall, do I care if my partner makes less than me? No, I do not. If as long as they're hardworking as well and they're not just sitting around doing nothing. If they're doing something they love, then so be it. As long as we're getting by and we're doing good, then I'm completely okay. Um, the next question I was asked is if a friend doesn't show up for you and doesn't think anything of that, is that good enough? This is a really good question because I think that it is not good enough. But there's a few outlets and ways you can go about this. I think you can either sit down and talk to them or you can just choose like, okay, like their actions are speaking louder than words at this point. Like I might as well just distance myself. Not completely. You need to understand you don't need to cut out everybody in your life. But sometimes you can just keep a distance or hang with them less because I think everybody comes into your life for a reason. And as long as they're not affecting you in some sort of mental way or physical way, then I don't think you should cut them out of your life completely. Maybe just keep some distance. It just shows how they are in their actions when you really need someone and they're not there. that should not be like your best friend. But I mean, some friends prioritize other things more than others. So if you guys aren't best friends, then they may have just other priorities that they're attending to. Sometimes just sitting down and having a conversation with that person as to why that upset you or could have upset you can make them realize, oh, wow, like I didn't even think of it that way. But sometimes life gets so busy and we get so caught up that we have a different perception on the certain situation that they're showing up for. They may not show up for you, but in their head, it's like they've showed up for you two or three other times, and this time just isn't that big of a deal, or maybe they had something else, or it's nothing a little communication can't fix. So, but overall, I do think it's a big deal if a friend doesn't show up and you've emphasized that it's important. But if you didn't really clarify that it's something important to you, then I don't think it's that big of a deal. It goes either way. But I do think when I tell and communicate my friends that something's important to me and they're not there, then that's an issue. But if I don't make it a big deal and they don't make it a big deal, I don't think it's a big deal. It all depends on the person in my head, what I think. Comment actually what you think about that. I'd love to hear the different perspectives on that question. So the next question is, what is something you can tell your younger self? Something that I would tell my younger self is to stop stressing about every little thing and just be present and be in the moment and enjoy it. Stop thinking about the next thing, the next hangout, the next, what the plan is. I think I've always had so much anxiety and it held me back, and I'm actively working on it. And I've learned to slow down and be more present and focus and spend less time on certain areas and spend more time with family. And it's made me feel so much happier. You know, I think it's so important to be present and slow down because as hardworking as you may be right now, which is amazing, you want to spend time with family and people who care for you because you don't want to get to the end of your life and look back and think, wow, I was so busy. And yeah, I am where I'm at right now, and I'm so blessed. But when I look back at how hard I worked and how little time I put into the other relationships in my life and they're not around anymore, you're going to look back and realize your head was down in your work and you just lived your life away because you weren't living it in the present moment. You're just thinking of the next thing. And I think it's very important to slow down and be present and grateful and realize the amazing, amazing people around you. I think it's so beautiful. So that's what I would tell my younger self, to slow down, be present, be grateful, be thankful, and I'm so blessed. I think that is what I would definitely tell my younger self. This is the last question, but how can I be more time conscious? I actually have a podcast on a work-life balance. You should definitely check it out. Just search it in the podcast episodes. But I would say to be more time conscious is to slow down. The times you feel stressed, that's your sign to take a break. Not adding more into your life, but not adding more into your life, but more taking away from your life. So if you're stressed one day, not adding all this stuff to do, but slowing things down, taking a rest day, being more time conscious, maybe making a to-do list if you have a whole to-do list of things to do, write down the top 3 things that you want to get done that day and get them done. But don't overwhelm yourself because then you're going to burn out. And prioritize the things that make you happy. But yeah, I hope this helped you guys in whatever way it may. Make sure you share it with a friend, family, or loved one, because if this helped you, I know it can help them as well. Please make sure that you are taking care of yourself mentally, sorry, physically and emotionally, because you can't help others if you can't help yourself. And as always, remember to be 1% better than you were yesterday. See you guys next week. Bye, you guys.